In this week's episode, we update you on how Steve's getting on with the removal of his melanoma moles. We are desperately trying to sort out a major leak. We also tell you the gruesome story of cannibalism amongst sailors. Enjoy the episode, guys, and don't forget to leave us a like and a comment. We love hearing from you. We are Steve, Annette and Gus, and this is our beautiful home, a Venus 46 Ketch. We are currently cruising in the Caribbean, but life threw us a curveball and we're now back in the UK, temporarily helping out family. In the last episode you saw the removal of Steve's stitches. We also took you to the beautiful village of Portersham in Dorset and Weymouth, one of the prettiest harbour entrances for cruisers ever. And our first ever viewer gift arrived in the post. Good afternoon. I've just brought the car down to Saxon Wharf, which is where Steve works, because we've got this dreadful leak. I think I mentioned it a couple of episodes ago. The floor here, you put your finger in it and all the water oozes out. It's absolutely full of water. So we've bought a vac thing. Look. See if we can suck some of the water out, because it's got to go for an MOT. I'm not sure that they'll pass it for an MOT if it's like a swimming pool in here. I've come down because I haven't got a lead long enough to do it back in the motorhome.
How much were Henrys in like the 80s and 90s? Are they always pricey?
Yeah.
Oh, these days.
Don't lose that, put it in the box.
All right.
It'll blow away. Oh my God, look how much water there is in there. It's about 3 inches of water. Not good. Not good, and it's still... Luckily, that side over there is dry. It's just this side. I think we're definitely going to have to drill some holes, Steve. We have good news and bad news on Steve's melanoma diagnosis. You can see how big it is, because they're my fingernail. It's half the size of my fingernail, and I haven't got long fingernails. This is what Steve's going in to have taken out today.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
We know
The one on the back's fine.
Yeah. So this is looking good now. This one here. This was the lumpy one that was taken out a couple of weeks ago.
When I have the one taken out the front, I'll have a scar on the front and a scar on the back, and I'll be able to like make up a story about like spearfishing, spivey point, diving for clams, all sorts of things. There'll be a whole host of stories that will be able to be relayed about Grandpa's scars. Yeah. But apparently that one's absolutely fine. They just said that's A. They didn't want to touch the buttock one. Oh, don't look at me, don't look at me. Oh, look at the flowers.
Our daughter bought me these. Aren't they just gorgeous?
They don't look real.
No, they don't.
They look like they've been
and they
sprayed.
smell lovely. You should be able to smell them like that great big honk of yours.
I can hardly smell anything. They smell like worms. So it's Friday the 1st of March 2024 and on the way to hospital to get, put through the window by my wife.
He was being a dick.
Okay, calm yourself.
It's cold today. And
We're always going on about it's cold.
It's
I'm
bright.
warm. I've got a heated seat, I'm warm. I haven't had any soup, I haven't had a roll.
You had a cheese and jam sandwich.
Laura. Anyway, I'm off to the Royal Southampton Hospital in Southampton dermatology department to have the other mole cut out. Anyway, we'll keep you updated.
Well, we've just come back out of the hospital. The good news is that he's had the one on his kind of shoulder taken out. They did a thorough examination with the tiniest kind of microscopic light thing all over his body, and they found another one on his back, which they've also removed as well, which is good news though, isn't it?
Yeah.
At least they found it. And the one on his back was really tiny, like the end of a pin, not the pinhead end, the other end of a pin.
And they also cauterised a thing on my face that when we left Martinique was bleeding at the airport, and it's bled twice since, and if I scratch it, it would just bleed everywhere, and I was worried about that, thinking the worst. And anyway, she had a look at it. She said, oh, it's a blood vessel close to the surface, I can cauterise that and it won't be an issue. So they did.
This is the one that Steve went in to have done here, and then whilst they were in there they did find another one, which is this one here. We're just about to take off now. No. I think we'll read up on that because I'm not so sure that you would put that. Do they hurt?
No.
No?
No.
I have a gruesome story to tell you. It started many years ago, many years ago, long before any of us were born. It's all about some lads that went to sea. But before I tell you the full story, we're just going to take a look at something. I'll take you with me so as you can see what it is that I'm talking about. We're in the parish of Peartree, which is just on the outskirts of Southampton, next to Itchen River. You can actually see Itchen River. Can't actually see the river, but I know that it's kind of over there. And what we've come to see today is the church, which is just there. Peartree Church dates from 1618 and was the first Anglican church built since the Reformation. The large churchyard contains many graves and memorials commemorating Southampton's worthies. The most unusual and interesting memorial relates to the sad story of Richard Parker, a young Southampton cabin boy who in 1884 suffered the misfortune of being killed and eaten by 3 of his shipmates. The inscription on the tomb slab reads as follows: "Sacred to the memory of Richard Parker, aged 17, who died at sea July the 25th, 1884, after 19 days' dreadful suffering in an open boat in the tropics, having been wrecked in the yacht Mignonette. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. Lay not this sin to their charge." A second inscription gives further information. Richard Parker was killed and eaten by Tom Dudley and Edwin Stevens to prevent starvation. Regina versus Dudley and Stevens, 1884, established the precedent that necessity is no defence against a charge of murder. Richard Parker was in fact a 17-year-old cabin boy on the racing yacht Mignonette, which was sailing from Southampton to Australia. All went well until the yacht rounded the Cape of Good Hope into the Indian Ocean and ran into a severe storm. Pounded by heavy seas, the yacht sank. The captain, Tom Dudley, mate Edwin Stevens, crewman Ned Brooks and Parker scrambled into the dinghy. They drifted aimlessly for 19 days with little water and only 2 cans of turnips to eat. Richard Parker had foolishly drunk seawater and seemed close to death. The captain, Tom Dudley, suggested drawing lots so that one could be sacrificed and eaten. Stephen and Brooks disagreed, saying, "We had better all die together." The following night saw Parker gasping for breath, whereupon Dudley said to Stevens, "What is to be done? I believe the boy is dying." "You have a wife and 5 children. I have a wife and 3 children. Then they decided that if no ship was sighted the next day and no rain fell, they would put Parker out of his misery. At 8 a.m. nothing was seen, so after offering a prayer to God and that he would forgive them, Dudley knelt down beside Parker, saying, "Now, Dick, my boy, your time has come." He murmured, "What, me, sir?" And Dudley put the penknife to his throat, and he was dead instantly. The others that gorged on his body and drank on his blood, thus saving their lives. 5 days later were spotted and rescued by the German bark Moctezuma. Weeks later they landed in Falmouth. The facts relating to Parker's death emerged. All 3 survivors were arrested and charged with murder. Ned Brooks, a Royal Navy reservist who had opposed the killing, turned Queen's evidence. Dudley and Stephen claimed the murder was committed under duress and that there was no alternative, but both men were convicted of murder and sentenced to death. There was much public sympathy for the 2 men, and on appeal, the death sentence was overturned and they were only jailed for 6 months. Dudley later emigrated to Australia, dying there of the bubonic plague in 1894. Stevens returned to the sea, eventually dying aged 66 in Hull, while Brooks died in 1919 in Southampton Parish Infirmary. Even though they're not really sure that Richard Parker was his name, because they took the name from an incident that happened 50 years previously. They do a lot of this in the UK now. The building behind me used to be the school. Absolutely beautiful, and what they've done is they've turned it into accommodation, people, you know, into houses. They've been like that for quite some time now, a number of years. It hasn't been a school for donkey's years, but it's still very, very pretty. And we're just on the outskirts of the main city of Southampton. Steve and I had our very first house when we got married, just over the back here. And yeah, it was just a little mid-terraced house, 2 up, 2 down type of thing. Well, actually it was 3 up and 2 down. And yeah, started off life in the parish of Pear Tree. Our married life anyway. So that's the very gruesome story of a sailor who never made it home. That, unfortunately for him, did save the lives of 2 other sailors. I'm cooking salmon with creamy parmesan sauce. I have no idea what it's going to be like, but thought I'd give it a go. With new potatoes, little new potatoes, and green veg. Still not heard from Steve. He's on overtime today. Should be finished about 4 o'clock, which was... oh no, it's in about 10 minutes time, so anyway. Show you the dinner later. So I browned off the garlic, put the leeks, the sweet pepper in, black pepper, and the single cream, and a stock cube as well. And now I'm just going to add the salmon.
Better go knock 'em dead. The Good Ship Murder.
Turn that.
Watch the full series
Just
now
mute it for the
on
moment, please.
5.
So greens. So greens, small boiled potatoes, and salmon.
Dog sick.
Pardon?
Dog sick.
Don't bloody eat it then.
Oh no, I will eat it.
No, you don't. I'm
No,
gonna shove it in your face in a minute.
It's nasty.
What do you mean nasty? You just called my bloody dinner dog
No.
sick. I've been doing it for the last hour and a half.
I know, it's beautiful. Look at it.
I hope it makes you sick.
Look, I'm going to taste it. Look, watch.
Burn his mouth. Go on, burn it. Burn, burn.
Oh, there's a lot of garlic in it. It's nice.
Yes, there is.
We've got no friends. Last week we got gifts in the post, or we got packages in the post that we had to open up, and it was like amazing. And then to top that off, I was at work, working away, and I see some people wandering through the yard who didn't have high vis on, and I said to one of my co-workers, are those people out for a Sunday afternoon stroll? Didn't recognise anybody. And then across the car park they walked over to me, and I realised that it was somebody that I knew from 6 or 7 years ago, a customer and his wife, Bill and Bev. Anyway, Bill still brings his fishing boats from Shoreham up to us to be lifted, and he came along with his wife, and they've watched a few of our videos, so he knew I was back in the UK and came for a visit. And his wife, Bev, brought us some really nice presents. Bill and Bev came walking across the yard. I know Bill, but I didn't know Bev, and Bev had brought us some really nice presents, or little gifts, a little bag of gifts. And I was really busy and I couldn't give them much time, but anyway, they brought these little jars of homemade, this one
They're
is
lovely.
sweet chili jam. That's going to be nice.
I was absolutely overwhelmed when Steve brought these back.
Marmalade, lovely marmalade. Boozy mincemeat. Now, I was going to eat that straight out the jar.
No, I
I'm going to
know.
eat that straight.
We'll make mince pies with it. No, we'll make mince pies with it. Yes, because they're not. Because I won't eat it.
My
like
mum
that.
used to let me.
I don't care what your mum used to do.
My mum used to let me eat mincemeat.
Don't care.
out of the jar.
Don't care. It's for us.
Pickled onions.
Whoa! Lovely.
Brown wind power.
Wow.
Thanks,
Bev, Bill, thanks so much. Really overwhelming.
And Bill's going to bring his fishing boats up.
Well, the other thing is that they've said we can take the motorhome up to their farm and go and spend the weekend there, which would be absolutely brilliant, wouldn't it? Yeah, I'd love to do that because Gus will be able to run around. So rest assured, Bill and Bev, look out for us because we're on our way.
Yeah, we're coming.
Anyway, thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks ever so much.
Really, really grateful. Thank you.
Amazing.
Mwah. A massive thanks to Bill and Bev for bringing down the jams and pickles. We're really going to enjoy those. And a massive thank you to all of our Patreon and Coffee supporters and all you viewers. We really appreciate your support whilst we're back in the UK. If you'd like to become a patron or coffee supporter, the links to both are in the narrative below. We're on the move again in our next episode, so keep an eye out for us. And until then, ciao for now.
They didn't want to touch the buttock one.
Maybe they thought it was a piece of shit.
Well, the kids thought it was on that video that day. Dad sat on something. But yeah, perhaps they just didn't want to go near the brown cave.